All right, welcome to the 90th episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. I am your host, Brother Twani Wandani out of Houston, Texas. I am the direct revolutionary product of the Shrines of the Black Madonna's efforts since 1953 to build a nation within this nation. I am also the founder of the Black Gold Nation movement, my co-host, the chief consultant of the Black Gold Nation's National Political Strategy and Implementation Department, also the head of our Adult Education Division, and the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin from Shreveport, Louisiana, AKA The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing this evening?
Tired as hell. and candidate. Woo!
And man. I need to add that, and candidate for the next, 12 months? 12 plus months?
Just for the next 4.
The next 4?
Yeah, let me see. I guess. Yeah, 4.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I got to remember to add that. Okay. And how are things going so far with the candidacy and the campaign?
Oh, copacetic, looking very presidential, even though I'm running for city council. We qualify on tomorrow, so the earth is about to shake on tomorrow as we get ready to qualify. So yeah, it's about to be on and popping.
Awesome. What does qualification entail?
So you have a package that you receive, and you have to fill out that information, variety of questions that they ask, producing your identification. You have to pay a fee. As an independent candidate, my fee is $300, but if you're a part of a Democratic or Republican party, your fee is $600. Because the party pimps you for $300, and the filing fee is $300. So.
Wow.
But several things that you have to fill out to have the Secretary of State certify you to be ready to rock and roll, and then they check to see you're not a criminal and you don't owe any past money or whatever. And
that certification by the state, that's immediate, or it takes some time for you to get all that back?
Oh no, they gonna let you know.
Okay, all right. So once you complete that, then you ready to roll.
Yeah, then you ready to rock. And then you know who is who. Because a lot of people talk about campaigning, like this brother today, he found out that he owes past campaign finance balance, has a campaign finance balance of over $10,000. So he won't be running.
You think he didn't know that? I mean, is it possible not to know that? I mean, how do you not know you owe that kind of money?
Yeah. Well, if you run and you have not kept up with they're gonna let you know. You might not check your mail on your.
Oh yeah.
And if you have not turned in your forms dealing with how much money you got, it could be something real simple. Every day that you have not turned those forms in, they hit you with $40 a day.
Every day? Oh.
Every day.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh man.
So $10,000.
Man, that'll add up real fast. So that before you even start your campaign, the game is already pimping.
It's serious, bro.
Wow. Okay. All right. So let's get into this thing. Tonight's show title is the destruction of the Black family and the public policy that drives it. As I've been saying, this is our 90th episode. As I've been saying for the past 89 episodes, Brother Craig and I are here to not just entertain and or inform. We want to. We're not just here to entertain. We want to edutain. We want to educate and entertain you, as well as inform you, but not just to give you information. We're trying to get you to do something. We want to educate, motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. Everything we say and everything we do is about bringing our people together to find the right people. And the right people do exist. We just got to let them know who we are so they can join us so we can build something that matters, something that's going to protect ourselves, our people, and our children, and allow us to live in dignity, in peace, and in power. So the destruction of the Black family and the public policy that drives it. So as we discussed the last 2 weeks, public policy is everything. Public policy is important because it governs how we live our day-to-day lives. We've been doing this past, what's today, Thursday. Yesterday, we had our monthly Spiritual Sankofa show, another Black Go Media show that we do, and we were talking about the importance of mental health as it relates to Black people and how it can be so difficult to get the mental health we need because we're often ignored, misdiagnosed. The people who are supposed to be giving us the counseling don't understand our trauma. And the day before that, we have a show every Tuesday, well, not a show, but a program every Tuesday that we go through called Emotional Emancipation Circle. And it's about the lies that white people have told and how those lies have affected us. And all of this stuff is a part of America's public policy that has been anti-Black or anti-African descendants since we've been here. So from the men to the women, to the children, to the community, to the race, America's public policy has always been anti our forward progress. And until we understand how that public policy works against us, then we'll never be able to flip that and have it work for us in a righteous manner. So it's very, very, very important that we understand public policy, how it comes to be, who creates and develops it, so that again, that we can flip it in a righteous manner to support us. So with that, Brother Craig, the first question is why is the family unit so important to the community?
Everything starts within the construct of family. Every individual, in order for you to exist, you must have a maternal and paternal connection, mother, father, regardless of whether or not they're good or bad. They have to exist in order to bring you into the world. And that is supposed to be the place where your initial foundation of all of your ethics, your morals come from, that place of spiritual and cultural structuring. And so, as I always ask the question, can you build a house from the roof down? And of course, the answer is no. And so the foundation for any structure begins at its root. And the root for a human foundation is the family. So that's what makes the family the most important aspect of one's development.
Amen. Amen. And this next question, we've talked about it a little bit in a few different shows. We probably need to do a show about it because it is so important. But the next question is what is man as opposed to male, and woman as opposed to female? What's the difference, and why is man so important as opposed to male, and woman so important as opposed to female?
So as the Creator led me to bring this intellectual property to the table over 20 plus years ago, I saw this whole transgender thing coming from a show that Oprah Winfrey did in reference to the world's first man gives birth. And now I already had my workshop that was already targeting the illusion of heterosexual males claiming to be men. But I thought this was just apropos that she would have such a show, because I was already laying the foundation for people to understand that the concept of man and woman, these are titles, these are statuses that one must achieve. in order to achieve the status title of man, one first must be born a male. One first must be born a male. You cannot become or evolve into manhood without first being born male. There are only 3 ways to come into this space. I could care less what the scientists are trying to articulate in 2022, but the dominant 2 XY chromosome brings you into this world as a male, and the next component as an XX chromosomal creature brings you into this world as a female. There are rare instances where you can have a cross wiring abnormality where your chromosomes are abnormally confused, and those individuals are referred to when they have both male female genitalia as hermaphrodite. Those are rare situations, but they do exist. So for the most part, we're talking about individuals who are born male or female. And just like you have to go through a training regimen to become a doctor, a plumber, a nurse, or electrician, a lawyer, you have, in order to become man or woman, you have to go through a training process. And that training process is known as a cultural rites of passage. And therefore, if you have not gone through a cultural rites of passage program, which most of us have not,
right,
it lays the foundation for us to, most of us, to live in perpetuity as males and females, perpetrating the fraud of being men and women, because we have not gone through the proper training in order to do so. I say that in order for a male to become man, it is a 7-step matriculation process. First and foremost, you have to go through a cultural rites of passage program that is focused on the 6 pillars of empowerment. Second, male has to now submit his mind unto the Creator, his mind and his spirit unto the Creator, for the Creator to guide him into tapping into his spirituality. Number 4, that individual male who is embracing now his responsibility and becoming accountable for his purpose in life, now has to be accountable and responsible to the Creator and the ancestors. Because without the Creator and the ancestors, you don't even have a mother or father to bring you into this world. And then you become accountable and responsible to your immediate family. Then you become accountable and responsible to your extended family. Then you become accountable and responsible to your community. And lastly, you become accountable and responsible unto yourself. Now that's a drastic departure
big time
from how people are trained about this world, because most people are trained, I look after myself first and foremost.
That's right.
Well, the reason, if you go through that process, and it's the same process for the female matriculating into womanhood, with one exception: the female, in order for her to matriculate into womanhood, she has one additional step, and that is she must submit her mind unto a male who is matriculated into manhood, in order for her to really elevate to become a woman. That's the only way that will happen. And the reason is, as I've thought about this for years, is because the male being born has that component that connects him to female, which is the X chromosome. The female does not have the Y. And in order to, the only way that the female will gain access to the Y is by being connected to a male who is matriculated into manhood. And therefore, if the female does not know the difference between male and man, and she now submits herself or engages herself into relationships with males, this is how now we find ourselves in a serious, chaotic situation, because the male is perpetrating a fraud as a man, the female is perpetrating a fraud as a woman, and now neither one knows the head from the tail, and now you just have perpetual chaos. So that's why that's how those things actually work. And if you go through those processes, those steps, now you have evolved and moved from being a selfish person to becoming a selfless person, from male to man and from female to woman.
I am going to assume that you have yet to put that into practice, correct?
Into practice?
Yes. Those 7 steps you just laid out, you haven't put those in there. You never. That's never been done before yet. We haven't seen that done before, correct?
I mean, I'm doing it, and I mean, there are entities who have, I would say, who are doing it. I mean, it's a very small percentage.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Very small percentage of individuals, but there are entities who have reached the pinnacle of manhood and now start to work on tapping into their godhood. Mm-hmm. But it's very rare that a female, and the reason it's rare, to money, is because of the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalism and capitalistic white supremacy racism. Mm-hmm. Because we go back to the definition that Dr. Wade Nova said of power, the ability to define reality and have others respond to your definition as if it were their own. So when you are now, everything in your life is based on a Eurocentric construct, right? I mean, it's already designed for you not to tap in to your manhood. You believe you are because you don't know what manhood is. Mm-hmm. Most instances, your father didn't know and your mother didn't know what it meant to be woman. And therefore, that's the dilemma that we're in with all of these things.
Yeah, and I was asking that question because everything you said, it sounds absolutely awesome, obviously. And my question was, how do you know those steps are the steps that are required if it hasn't been done yet? But if you say it's being done, then that would be the answer to the question.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I've used myself over the past. I mean, I've been on this direct enlightenment path for the past 38 years, and indirectly conscious, or consciously unconscious, for a long time during my childhood years. And so I've used myself as a case analysis, now observed and studied others. And so these are just basic observations, critical analysis, experiments, research that I've done over this period of 4+ decades. Yeah. And again, at this stage, again, it's irrefutable as we move forward, because you see all these situations, and most oftentimes when one describes man, it's always going to be something based on physicality or the acquisition of money, status, and material. Okay. That's it. And if you're a so-called woman, physicality, and so-called the ability to reproduce. Mm-hmm. So again, those two qualifiers, it's not necessary for you to be man or woman, to have physical, anatomical parts. That's a biological construct.
Right.
And as it relates to, having children, that's biology. The aspect of producing children from sperm, biology. Strength, biology. So these are things that, again, if you just base them on those things, you will never understand what man or woman actually is.
Right. And if society is going in the absolute opposite direction, then you'll never understand because there's no way for you to get it, so you can't understand.
So now they've confused it even more.
Yeah.
With the whole transgenderism game.
Yeah.
So now they're telling you, if you feel like you're a woman, although you're a male, because you ain't a man. You can't be a man if you say you feel like a woman. You can say that you're a woman.
Yeah.
If you feel like, so now we're getting into feelings on realities that have existed for millions of years, but this is a part of the game of the people who are in power.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue to the next question, which is why are the roles of each group, the man group and the woman group, why are those roles so important as it relates to family and community?
Because those are two separate entities, and those roles have to be clearly defined within the construct of that cultural group. And without culture, you wouldn't have the role. And that's where we're at now, because we lack spirituality and right culture, organic right culture. And so if those roles are not clearly defined, or as Robin Thicke said, if the roles are blurred, if they're blurred lines,
right,
you're gonna have an issue. So now children believe that they're grown, they believe that they're men, so they don't want to be told anything. The females believe they're women. They're trying to be friends with the children. The males believing that they're men, believe it's okay to just bounce around from house to house, pillar to post, procreating, but not being responsible. So if you don't understand the roles, it's like, you just have a hodgepodge society.
Yeah.
And that benefits the power brokers, but it doesn't benefit you.
Yeah, you have chaos. You have chaos. So next question: How has America's public policy attacked that of Black men? How has America's public policy attacked Black men?
It attacks the African descendant male and man in every way conceivable, from a cultural perspective, from a educational perspective, from a spiritual, mental, economic, social, political, all of those things that are listed in the 6 pillars of empowerment are under attack every day. One spirituality, one's culture, one education, one's economics, socioeconomics, and politics. And that's why if you're not rooted in your 6 pillars, on the 6 pillars of empowerment square, you don't have the power that you need, and you don't have the protection that you need, and you'll never find out your purpose. So the architects and the engineers directly attack all of those things, because that's the foundation of what now makes you who you are, or who you're supposed to be as an individual African descendant in this society.
So can you give us 2 or 3 examples, concrete examples of how American public policy has attacked that of Black men?
You can look directly at the concept of the prison industrial complex. Coming out of chattel slavery, the creation of Black codes. Those Black codes, some of them, you could go to jail for whistling at they had a whistling campaign Black Code. You couldn't travel around town unless a white person was with you. You could not rent without the permission of a white person. All of those policies were put in place in order to re-enslave African descendants who had just been perceptively freed
Right.
by the 13th Amendment.
Yeah.
So those policies existed. Boom, now you're reincarcerated. Now you're a convict. Now you're leased out to the sheriff. And that whole situation continues today through the prison industrial complex. And so that's just one of the things that is used, and it's, you know, many, many more.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the number one because it's so clear. We were in a presentation the other day, and my colleague, Curtis Davis, who has done a great job of getting on the November 8th ballot with a piece of legislation that seeks to remove the term, the exception to slavery clause out of the Louisiana Constitution. And the Louisiana Constitution is very similar to the United States Constitution, the 13th Amendment, with the exception clause where it says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except. And once the except is brought in, that means slavery is still legal, pending what? Something that is punishable by crime, or you've been duly convicted. And so that lays the foundation for reincarceration, re-enslavement, and that's the main way that they rock and roll. The other big thing are the policies that allow for a spiritually and culturally bankrupt people to possess a cadre of weapons with 200 drum.
Yep.
They're not clips, but drums of bullets.
Yeah.
Knowing that these particular holders of ammunition allows for these people who have been trained to hate themselves to continue to kill themselves.
That's right.
And so those are the two main things that I would point at, and you can get into the education and all these other things, but those are the two big things: the prison public policies that steer African American males into the prison industrial complex, and the public policy that allows for an array of assault weapons, and also ammunition.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, these could be also stated for Black women, or even youth. But can you give us two concrete examples of how America's public policy has attacked Black women?
I mean, you know, again, one of the biggest things, and this is really a good thing, although on the surface it is perceived as a bad thing, the latest public policy fight around abortion. This is really a good thing in disguise for the African American female, because the African American female has the highest rate of abortion. Not the highest number, but the highest rate of abortion. So many of our sisters going back to the illusion that they are women, and they have not gone through a proper cultural rites of passage program. They believe that they know how to select a mate. Well, we know that that's, in most instances, they don't. And so when that doesn't go straight, and now the relationship is perceptively over, and she's impregnated, she's looking to terminate, in many instances, the child.
Yeah.
So now, abortion is used as a contraceptive. Well, now, because white folks are trying to save white children
Mm-hmm.
because their population numbers are in a deficit. They pushed through the elimination, repealing Roe versus Wade, which allowed for abortion to happen some 50 plus years ago. And so now public policy is saying, sisters, you ain't gonna be able to do abortions if you live in these states.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other states currently that allow it with the right state legislature, they will, in the Republican favor, they will repeal those policies as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those policies concerning abortion impact African American females. Now, most of them will say it is an adverse thing, but in all actuality, it's really a good thing. Mm-hmm. Because they don't understand that if you now strengthen your spiritual and cultural foundation, you will make better selections of a mate, and then you wouldn't have to worry about putting yourself through the mental and spiritual horror show of now having an abortion and murdering a child.
Yeah, that's a huge if, and because there's no way for them to get that spiritual connection, because who's bringing it to them? Who's bringing that spiritual awakening to them?
Well, again, no one that they are tapping into.
Right.
But again, the public policy forces them to deal with some things that they never would have even attempted to now deal with.
Right.
And I'll end by saying this. Curtis Davis made such a strong analysis, and I have to do the research on it, but he made a statement about the amount of jail time that an individual would get if he or she murdered an eagle, a baby eagle, an egg. Mm-hmm. You would get so many years of jail time for murdering a baby eagle.
Okay.
But no jail time if you murder a human.
Yeah.
So it's just he added an interesting twist on it. And I'll say this, Sister Shannon, although I'm against abortion, I'm also against the state being the arbiter as to whether or not telling a female what she can and cannot do with her body. So you said, well, if you are against abortion, but you're against the state telling a female what to do with her body, what's my position? It's real simple. If you have a child beyond rape, incest, or something that impacts the well-being of that female or woman, you should not be allowed to just abort because you want to, because somebody helped you make that child. That person needs to be contacted. And let's just say if you were just out doing your swingers thing, sorry, you got to have that child. You got to have that child. But if there's a father involved and he doesn't know, he needs to be contacted first and foremost to see if he would want the child. And then thirdly, the female should investigate whether or not other people would want to adopt that child. I've gone through this with multiple friend girls, and I know it is a psychologically traumatizing thing. I don't care what sisters try to say. I know a sister who's had about 9 abortions, and it finally broke her mentally. And it's just a sad thing. And you would never know if you saw her today. She looks crazy and whatnot. You would never know. That chick used to be a beautiful, gorgeous sister, but between her disappointments in religious pimps and abortions, she's lost it.
Yeah.
She's actually lost.
So can you give us one more brief example of how American public policy has attacked Black women?
A real short example could be public policy that is laid out to help sisters, minority females, primarily African Americans, go into businesses. Public policy is designated directly to target African American females, which will stimulate entrepreneurship, and that is another public policy initiative.
Okay, and how have these attacks on brothers and sisters, public policy by America, how has this affected the overall community?
I mean, most of the people are insane.
Yeah.
Most of them are mentally insane, and those who believe that they're not insane, they are functionally insane. Very few have been able to escape this monster, and attain spirituality and organic right culture, so that they could become who they were born to become if they're on that right path. So it has impacted them tremendously. And of course, then, as you asked the first question, if you're messed up as individual male, individual female, and you all get together sexually and have children, now what happens to the children? It's a repeat and a perpetuation of the mental instability.
That's right. So a quick rapid fire question for you. Was slavery public policy?
Exactly.
Was Jim Crow public policy?
Yeah, exactly. All of that was legal. All that's public policy.
And black codes?
Public policy.
America's drug, quote unquote, epidemic?
Public policy.
The crack cocaine epidemic?
Under the table public policy.
Huh?
Under the table.
Under the table. Oh yeah, and I say albeit private. So and you talked about this gang activity and the giving of these weapons, the dumbing down of our children, the public education system, all of that is public policy, right?
That's public policy.
All
All that. Weapons, all that, public policy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if you missed the beginning of the show.
And say this, which that's why it's crazy that the Negro, having been granted the right to vote to help change public policy, doesn't do it. But I understand why, because they don't see the tangible connection, and they just kind of assume their position of being a slave for the rest of their life.
Yep, which is horrifyingly sad. It's sad. Okay, so if you missed the beginning of the show, you're listening to and you're watching the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. Tonight is our 90th episode, and the title of tonight's show is The Destruction of the Black Family and the Public Policy That Drives It. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation, and my co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, who is our chief consultant for political strategy and implementation, as well as the over our adult education division. Next question, Brother Craig. And you were talking about this earlier, and all of this brings us back to what you were mentioning earlier. How important are gender roles when it comes to our children?
Like I said, they're absolutely profound, because the children are going to be primarily male or female. And if they're going to ever grow into manhood or womanhood, you have to see these physical realities. And because most of the children don't, that's why they never have an understanding of how to tap in. I didn't initially have that at home, but because I had a village that included some positive brothers, and I'm quite sure the vast majority of them had never attained manhood. Some of them, as I learned from one of my mentees back in 2012, Kameko Thomas, she had been in my empowerment boot camp for 3 years, and she said, "Brother Craig, I know I'm no longer a female." I said, "Okay." And she said, "But I know I'm not yet woman." I said, okay. So what are you? And man, that girl said, "I am a woman in training."
Okay.
Wow. Heretofore, why I didn't come up with that intellectual concept,
Mm-hmm.
but me helping her tap in to her womanhood, she came up with that and gave a truthful assessment as to where she was at in her development. And so that was absolutely beautiful. So the children must see appropriate roles starting at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to believe that the Black man, that male evolved into Black manhood in the home was the most important. The entity who needed that the most was the male.
Mm-hmm.
But I've come to realize actually the number one entity who needs that entity the most is the female.
Okay.
Because the female doesn't really understand manhood. She is the entity who incubates the life. The male is the one who stimulates the life. And so the male is the secondary most important, but the female, although her mother is shaping the womanhood structure for her, that man, that father, is most important for her, so she knows how to appropriately select the mate.
So you believe that the gender roles for our children, those roles are under attack, correct?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So and again, you start talking about this earlier as well. So tell us how you believe these roles are under attack.
Again, the best case analysis is when Oprah Winfrey said, "We're doing a show on the first man to give birth."
Mm-hmm.
So here you have Oprah Winfrey, so-called sister girl, helping the architects and the engineers to propagate a lie, all based on a feeling that an individual claims to have that she is a man,
Mm-hmm.
although she knows she's a female.
Right.
So if we don't get this thing clear, you have transformers around here really believing that they can say these things. And this is why a lot of these transformers are getting murdered.
Yeah.
Because if you believe that your appearance, your physical appearance is what makes woman, or as far as what makes man, right, you're already through in this game.
Yeah.
Because it's far deeper than any of that. And now it's clear as to why that DSM for psychology analyzed homosexuality and all of these anti-life behaviors as mental illnesses.
What is DSM?
That's the Bible, the guide for assessing psychological, psychiatric issues.
Okay.
And so that particular publication listed homosexuality in the 70s as a mental illness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. While you go to the next question, I'm gonna pull it up and I'm gonna read it for you. But you can clearly see with a lot of these individuals what's going on. And I do believe that as a byproduct of our enslavement,
mm-hmm.
I do believe that there are some spirits that still resonate. I mean, because you remember during chattel slavery, these folks statutorily, brutally raped females and males.
So that you talked about the violence a few minutes ago, and you said that's why so many of them are being murdered. So I want you to, and that's my next question. Why do you think they are being murdered, and why do you think that level of violence is going to increase?
Well, part of it, they're tricking individuals into believing that there's something that they're not.
Okay.
And then the other part, some of the guys know that these are males, and that's typically the ones who are being taken out, are the ones who are perpetrating as females, so-called women.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the males know that they are males, homosexuals, and they now start to say that they're going to extort the individuals in order to gain money.
Extort.
Like money.
Yeah, I mean, I know what it is, but they're going to extort them how? By saying
that exposing them on Facebook, on social
media, okay.
that they on the down low.
I got you. Okay.
And so that's the other thing, because I remember seeing a segment where this one chick walked in on these two dudes, and she reports this on live. Girl, yeah, such and such, I walked in on them. Yeah, you better give me some money or I'm gonna let it be known. And they killed her ass.
Yeah.
Now she's a heterosexual chick, big chick.
Mm-hmm.
She walks in on them, and she said she was trying to unsee what she saw.
Mm-hmm.
She immediately goes to social media.
Yeah.
And when the guys found out, they started chasing her, and they ended up running her off the road or something, but she ended up dying.
So I can only assume that, well, hell, yeah, I assume that that's not why most transgender people are being murdered. Are they being murdered because they're threatening to out somebody, or are they being murdered for other reasons?
It's not. There are multiple reasons.
Okay.
It's not no like one-dimensional.
Okay.
In terms of it, and I found it here.
And wait, before you give me that, and tell me why you think the violence is going to increase. Because
you're having more people perpetrating as transgender.
Okay.
So the more you have that's perpetrating as transgender, and the more they continue to push this issue and really push it, I'm talking about they get in your face.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. The more you have that, the more people are going to respond.
Yeah, push back. Yeah.
And because most people don't know how to handle those situations at all.
Yeah.
Okay, homosexuality in the DSM. The DSM, homosexuality was classified as a mental disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, beginning with the first edition published in 1952 by the American Psychiatric Association. Think about that now. Homosexuality was classified by the American Psychiatric Association as a mental disorder. The classification was challenged by gay rights activists in the years following the 1969 Stonewall riot. And in December 1973, the APA Board of Trustees voted to declassify homosexuality as a mental disorder. In 1974, the DSM was updated and homosexuality was replaced with a new diagnostic code for individuals distressed by their homosexuality. Distress over one's homosexual orientation remained in the manual under different names until the DSM-5 in 2013. See, this is all game. They know these are mental disorders. So now they declassify them to make it appear that these folks are normal when they're not. So now they're pushing the agenda which is the anti-life agenda against the entire planet. And the
So
power structures that be are cool with it because it creates ultimate chaos and confusion.
okay, so how do we push back against public policy that's been anti-us from day one? How do we push back against these things that are put in place that have made our lives so difficult? How do we push back against public policy?
By mobilizing, organizing, and activating yourselves at the local level.
Mhm.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
Because again, you can't build a house from the roof down, so you can't start at the regional, national, international level on these issues. You have to start at the local level. Period.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't care what the issue. The one thing that I will give a lot of these groups, look, challenged by gay rights activists. The gay rights activists were pushing for what? Public policy change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the DSM helped to establish public policy.
Right. Yeah.
So now they mobilize, organize, educate, and activate their coalition and push for an agenda.
Right. Yeah. And that agenda is what we're seeing today, obviously.
Same with the Republican Party on the abortion issue. They work at the abortion issue. They work and hey, look, they know it's not over, so they're gonna keep on working.
Yeah.
The only people who do not work on their issues is our president.
Right. Right. And that goes to the next question, which is a simple one. And just for clarity, who creates public policy?
People.
Exactly.
Evil people.
So we can. What'd you say?
I say primarily evil people.
Oh yeah, people. Yeah. So we can create our own public policy, right?
Exactly.
And can we have?
Yeah. If you're in the spaces that control legislative decisions,
that's right.
Create your own. If you went and acquired your own land, you could create your own policy outside of America or in the cloud. But you know, you still, as the group in Georgia, they're still under public policy, even though they went and got their own so-called land.
Yeah.
They still have to abide by
the laws,
the rules of that county.
That public policy.
Public policy.
Yeah. And can we have righteous public policy without the 6 pillars of our Father?
Hell no.
Cool. Amen. All right, brother. We finished 6 minutes early. Last question. You get one takeaway from everything we've discussed tonight that people will have with them for the rest of their lives. What would that one takeaway be?
Everything starts with family. Everything starts with the foundation. And if the foundation is cracked, you've created a fractured child, and a fractured child typically grows up to be a fractured male, never matriculated into manhood, and a fractured female, typically never growing, elevating into womanhood. So we have to embrace the 6 pillars of empowerment and mobilize and organize to handle our business for the benefit of our children and our future.
That's right. Amen. All right. So that concludes tonight's show. We're going to open it up to see if anyone has any questions or comments, and then we'll close it out. So Sister Shannon, Brother Mike, do either of you have a question or comment for Brother Craig?
I defer to the sister.
Shannon, you have a question? I don't think.
Shannon, I want to know. Shannon, I want to know how. Tell me about the policy up in Colorado where you said they went too far. I'm not familiar with what's going on up there. So tell me about y'all regarding the abortion.
Oh, it's in regards to the abortion law. They and this is right before they did the whole Roe versus Wade thing, but what they did is now you can come to Colorado and get an abortion up to 9 months. So you can have a full-blown baby.
Wow.
in your
Wow,
belly, and
9
you could,
months?
yes,
Christ.
yes, look it up. Look it up.
Wow.
Now, here's my
That's
thing.
now that's not an abortion, right? That's straight up murder, isn't
No,
it? I
that's
mean,
murder. If you fucking ask me, excuse my
Right.
language, but once again, I agree. You know what I'm saying? It's a fine line. You know, when things come in where there's incest, rape, you know, different things like that, I could understand that. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to it using it as a form of birth control,
Dang.
that's out of line. But then now they've extended it, you know, here in Colorado, where and they push it as women rights. You know, women have their rights, they can do whatever they want to with their bodies. And yeah, we can, but that is some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all. That's, if that's the case, if women can go out here and do that, then they need to be in jail. And men who are, or men and women who are actually in jail for murdering someone, you should give them some leeway if that's the case. Because there's going to be plenty of women come in here at the age, you know, 9 months and just doing whatever they do. And I don't agree with it. I
9
just,
months.
that is
Man,
too much.
that is crazy. Jesus Christ, 9 months?
That's what I wanted to know. I'm like, damn. What I was like, I wonder what Sister Jan was talking about is too much, because I'm, damn.
Yeah, that's
I'm
another
going-
level. That's another level.
I'm damn sure gonna check that out, Sister Jan.
Wow, wow. Okay,
Please.
brother Mike.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really think it is. I don't really think there's one way or another in terms of the abortion piece. Like I said before, I think it's just a focus on making sure white women continue to have babies, because
Yeah, that's what you said earlier. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I got on late, but here's the thing about it. But when, you know, because I've met sisters out here in LA that they feel they need to be breeders and have more children to offset that. But the reality is that it's just each position is I mean, it would take you know, the rationale for different things, but that's definitely what that Caucasian is doing. But a lot of us, I mean, I can share it here. Other folk, they think I'm out my mind. They just think that I'm, you know, and it's just, I'm just reiterating, glad we have these forums, man, because I'm talking about conscious folk. So-called woke folk don't get it. And the reality is that old white man is in public office or corporate office, they're dying off. And they need offspring, no matter where it comes from. So that just my comment.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely correct, Mike.
Yeah, that's on point.
I mean,
That's on
they,
point.
they, you know, and it's such a simple issue to analyze, but we get caught up in, well, when the child is born, they ain't gonna take, like, stop, man. They don't give a goddamn. They need the child born. And they want then the child to navigate through the process. But they, like, because it's not an absolute for them. If the more children they can have born, you know, they know they'll get some winners out of a few of them.
Yeah, the odds in their favor.
But if they don't get any goddamn children born, they batting zero.
That's right. That's right.
So it is so unfortunate. For example, before I got on tonight, you talk about public policy, and Mike acquires property. So you're gonna like this one, Mike. I was at the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, which is the Black Realty Association. The sisters from New Orleans just got through saying all of these Negroes who sat up and accepted that forbearance during Corona, the height of Corona, as a way of not paying their mortgage. Guess what the white folks want now, y'all?
What they want?
They want the money back.
They want all 24 months of pay.
What?
All 24 months, or they going after your house.
Wait, but wasn't the money properly given because of COVID?
It was forbearance, which means you still owe.
Oh.
So Negroes who knew they still could pay, they still took the forbearance, and now they want all 24 months.
Ooh.
So now these good brothers and sisters who are with the National Association of Realty, Real Estate Brokers, they're now trying to help African descendants from losing their homes. But, bruh, I mean, I'm just leaving that meeting. And the reason that hit me, to mind when you start talking about public policy, all things are public policy, and they go in between the private sector policy that helps to navigate these things. And so that's why I didn't even know I was going to this meeting tonight. I sent you that segment earlier, and if you could pull that, I would really show that segment that I sent to you on the real estate to show you how gangster this is. But it just so happens I was invited to come to this thing tonight, and it's public policy, right? And now, if you ain't got your 24 months, you stand to lose your credit.
And they want that money all at once.
All at once.
Jesus Christ. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt.
And so the sister who invited me to come, she said, Craig, why would our people do that? I'm like, come on, sister.
Because it was there to get, and they weren't thinking about the ramifications of getting it. That's why.
Yeah, and believe that it possibly is gonna be written off. Man, you better handle your business.
Yeah,
man.
and they ain't gonna forget either. Wow. Okay. All right, Brother Craig, with that, any closing comments?
Now, can you pull that video up?
Oh, what video? The last one asked you what movie is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
Sister Shannon them can see it. I think I sent it to I sent it to Sister Shannon. I gotta get Shannon in my messenger rotation. I could be getting a lot of these things that I sent out. Y'all gotta check this out.
Faster than you can count it. Negroes aren't stupid. Given a choice, even they don't want to live among other Negroes.
Nothing more American than people willingly paying double for something they can't afford in the first place.
What happens when they realize they have been swindled?
Well, you could always ask Miss Koister if you could borrow a sanitary napkin.
If they make their mortgage payments, we win. If they default, we win.
You pray they miss their nut, then you put those houses right back on the market.
Add another markup. And by this time, it's an all-Negro neighborhood.
An entire population of Negroes who can't secure traditional mortgages.
Do you need an abacus?
Uncle, 6%.
Oh, there you go.
This is why I do what I do.
Yeah, that's the game. And I had no idea. I had no idea, Sister Shannon, that I was going to a meeting tonight that was reflective of that damn video still.
Yeah, that's heavy.
That's how the creator works, man.
Yeah.
So, we just have to, again, the only way that we're gonna navigate out of our condition is by embracing and implementing the 6 pillars of empowerment every day, because it's your power. It encompasses your protection. It encompasses your purpose and your position in this world. Now, those 6 pillars lay the foundation for everything. And without those 6 pillars, become subhuman, i.e. savage, and it ain't nothing that a savage wouldn't do.
Yeah, amen. Okay, on that note, as always, we thank you guys for being here. I sincerely appreciate it. We want you to come back next Thursday. Share the fact that we do this every Thursday. Our next show will be our 91st episode. So we are going to be here, always putting out information that we think our people need and can use to move us forward. So as always, remember, no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the empowerment and freedom of Black people, because if Black people don't make it, because we're also Black, we're not going to make it. Thank you guys very much. God bless. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.